everyone, and welcome back to my third episode of my True Crime Japan series. Today's video is about the murder of Rika Okada. She was a 29-year-old nursing assistant in Osaka. Her body was found in a storage facility in Hachioji in Tokyo. This murder happened in 2014. The story begins back in elementary school, where Okada met a Japanese-Brazilian girl named Yuri Oishi. They were both friends back in elementary school and junior high school. But after junior high school, they lost touch. Okada went on to become a nursing assistant at a hospital in Osaka. However, Oishi's life played out very differently from Okada. So after junior high school, Oishi decided that she wanted to go back to Brazil to continue her education. So she completed high school in Brazil. Since Japan doesn't recognize a double citizenship after 18 years old, she had to decide whether she wanted to become a Brazilian or a Japanese person, and she decided to become a Brazilian citizen. However, years passed and she actually came back to Japan, but she wasn't very successful in finding jobs or anything like that. She could only find work at a convenience store. In January 2014, Okada received a friend request from Oishi after many years of no contact. They were both 29 at the time, so many years had passed since the end of junior high school. They talked through Facebook and they decided that they wanted to reunite in the next month of February. Okada was so excited about this. She even wrote on her Facebook page saying that, you know, she was excited to go meet a childhood friend that she hadn't heard of in years and years. February came and they ended up going to a Japanese izakaya, and there's actually a photo of that meeting which I will put up on the screen. Okada was last seen on March 21st, 2014 when she left her hospital workplace. A text was sent to her workplace from her phone on the Thursday night that she went missing, stating that she was sick and that she couldn't make it into work. And messages to her parents continued well into April, stating that everything was fine and everything was as usual. It was a steady stream of messages from Okada to her parents and work, stating that she was still sick. So no one really thought anything was super wrong. However, in mid-April, the messages stopped. Okada's family tried to call her cell phone, but they were unsuccessful in those attempts because her phone had been switched off. On May 4th, Okada's mother became very worried and decided to go to her daughter's apartment to check on her. She entered the apartment and it was neat and tidy when she entered, but she found blood on the tatami mat and also a lot of blood down the side of her bed. She subsequently called the police. The police began the investigation and found out that on March 23rd, a woman claiming to be Okada called a delivery service stating that she had something to be picked up and she wanted to send it to Tokyo. So the next day, the delivery man showed up at Okada's apartment and he picked up a 2-meter long box that weighed 50 kgs, and Okada had stated to be very careful with this parcel because it was very delicate, because it was a doll that was made of clay. The parcel made a 400-kilometer journey from Osaka to an address in Tokyo. The address belonged to none other than Yuri Oishi. She had shared this apartment with a Chinese woman who had already returned back to Shanghai after completing her postgraduate studies here in Japan. The Chinese woman left back to Shanghai in mid-March. The lease on the apartment was supposed to end at the end of March, but Oishi had extended it for another month. The police further uncovered that on March 27th, someone had applied in Okada's name to get a new passport, and when they looked further into this, the application had been sent in with Oishi's photograph. The passport was approved and it was picked up by Oishi. As well as this, in April, a credit card was applied for under Okada's name and it had been used to purchase a flight to Shanghai from Haneda Airport. On May 3rd, CCTV showed Oishi boarding a plane to Shanghai from Haneda Airport, and she was with her Chinese flatmate who had returned back to Japan for a short visit. On the 26th of May, the police investigated the storage box that had been hired by Okada or purchased on her credit card, and inside of the short-term rental there was a cardboard box, and inside was the body of Rika Okada. She was wrapped up in plastic inside of the cardboard box that she had been sent in from Osaka. There were more than 50 stab wounds on her body, 50, and she had no defensive wounds on her, so Okada was most likely stabbed when she was unconscious or already dead. After the discovery in the storage unit, all evidence pointed to Oishi. Police also stated that she had actually applied to extend her visa and it was denied, so she had been staying in Japan illegally for just over a year now. As well as this, her fingerprints were found on the cardboard box that contained Okada's body. Police also said that there was no money left in her bank account, and her bank account was never in good shape at all. Since she'd come to Japan, she was pretty much broke. So remember that Oishi had already left for China at this point when they found all of this stuff out. So Oishi was placed on a worldwide wanted list. At this point she was just wanted for robbery and immigration charges. They just wanted to get her back to Japan so they could continue the investigation in the murder. Oishi ended up handing herself in to the Japanese embassy in Shanghai, and she was arrested for the crime of entering China on a passport that wasn't hers, or a fake passport for that matter. Now, the problem is that it's not so straightforward to get her back to Japan. The thing is that Japan and China do not have an extradition treaty. So under normal circumstances, for the crime that she was charged for, which was an immigration charge, she would usually be sent back to Brazil because she's a Brazilian citizen. So in that case, the Japanese people had to use diplomatic channels to get her back to Japan. So she was detained in China until all of these agreements took place, and it took a very long time for this to happen. Lots of hoops to jump through, I'm sure. This has only happened once before, and that was in 1999, where a foreigner was sent back to Japan. So this is a very unusual circumstance. But she was finally sent back to Japan after 2 years and 8 months on January 25th, 2017. Oishi was arrested on the flight from Shanghai to Kansai Airport in the Osaka region. When she arrived to the airport, she was swamped by journalists and people taking photos and all that kind of stuff, but she said that she had nothing to say. Oishi's trial began in Osaka on the 22nd of February 2019, so this year. She was being charged with using a fake passport, making several credit cards in Okada's name, where she used them in China, where she spent over 1 million yen. She was also getting charged with the planned murder of Rika Okada. She was facing either life imprisonment or the death sentence. Oishi refused to comment on the murder at all. She didn't want to make a statement at all, so this was all up to her lawyer to defend her in this case. The defense argued that Rika Okada had been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. This disorder means that she has multiple different personalities, and these personalities are very different and they don't remember what each personality does. So you can just switch and, you know, you can do something that would be totally not normal for your true self, right? And then you'll like switch back and you won't remember what you did. So that's what they're claiming she has. But the prosecutors were not convinced of the lawyer's perspective of events. They said that this was premeditated. She knew exactly what she was doing. She had reasons for why she did this. She bought a knife specifically for this murder, and she specifically put it in her bag when she went to the apartment. She was in Japan She was broke. She was there illegally. She couldn't leave the country without getting arrested. She wanted to go to China with her friend. She pretty much just wanted a new start. In my opinion, I think it was totally premeditated right from the message that she sent on Facebook to Okada. I think this was her plan all along, being reunited with her friend. I think she had every intention of doing what she did right from that Facebook message. So it is unknown whether or not the Chinese friend was involved in this crime. It is so unusual to me that she came back to Japan for only like less than a week and then went back to Shanghai with her on the same flight. I think that they were actually a couple because there were photos taken of them when they were in Shanghai before Oishi turned herself in. There were photos of her taken by some Japanese media and they were holding hands and they looked like a couple, so it seems to me that they were actually together. I'm not sure if the Chinese woman knew that about the crimes, but even if she did know, there would be no way to get her back to Japan because at this point the Japanese authorities have no proof of her knowing anything and they wouldn't be able to get her here with no evidence. I think whether she's guilty of knowing what happened when they got on that flight together or not, she's gonna walk free regardless. So in the end, Oishi was sentenced to life in prison on March 14th, 2019. So yeah, that's the end of this story. It just goes to show that you really can't trust anyone. It's like sad that you can't trust people, you know, even so-called friends, you know. It's so hard finding the balance between protecting yourself and staying on your toes and then on the other hand, you know, letting people in and trusting people. I guess the story just goes to show that this can really happen to anyone and anyone could do this to you. Like, I don't want to make anyone paranoid or anything like that, but just knowing that regardless of your relationship with someone, regardless of how you view your friendships or relationships or anything like that, people think differently from us, you know. Some people really aren't good people. People don't always have the best intentions at all. So that's the end of this video today. As always, I send love to Rika Okada's family and her friends. Such a devastating story. If you guys have any thoughts or comments, please leave them down below and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.